Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, wherever you may be. This is By Hook or By Needles, and I am Sam. And today I'm just filling in for Mrs. C. So, in keeping with Wacky Wednesdays and all the rest of it, I thought we'd go really wacky, and I would make a Bilby. Now, a Bilby is an Australian marsupial. I think it's a marsupial. So it has a pouch. It's got a rat-like face, bunny ears. Oh, I need to just turn that down. Bunny ears, and it looks a little bit like a bunny. In fact, what Australians are doing now at Easter. Hi, Suzanne. Thanks for joining me. Um, and I don't know whether Kerry and Dawn are still here, but hello to you two as well. Um, Mine's got Easter. Easter, we have chocolate bilbies. We don't have chocolate. Well, we do have chocolate bunnies as well, but we have chocolate bilbies. So I thought, in keeping with Wacky Wednesday and in keeping with um, the bunny theme, I would show you how to make a bilby. So, hang on, I just need it. This it's supposed to be muted, but for some reason it doesn't mute completely. So I keep hearing an echo, which is really annoying. But anyway, so I was hoping to show the pattern, but I couldn't get that to sort of be big enough for you to read. So what I will try and do is include the pattern on my posts page later on so that those who wish to follow along can do so. So we're going to start with our ears. There's no stuffing in these. They are just two pieces, the inner ear and the outer ear joined with slip stitches all the way around and then folded. And the reason I've done it that way is so that there's a nice neat edge rather than sewing them together. So this will be the ears. I used a templi for this, and then I thought, okay, well that's going to work, so I left it there. Hi, Marshall, isn't it? No, Marshall. Oh, I can never. Sorry, Blind Stitches Creations. Thank you for joining us. We are making a bilby, and what I'm going to do is basically talk you through it. Like I say, I will leave the pattern. Oh, that's what I didn't get, my other hook. I will leave the pattern in the posts for those who want to follow on later on. Now, this what I will need because I've made it using Templi, which is 4 weight. But for the sample I'm going to show you, I didn't really have enough of the larger ply yarn. So I thought 3.5, will that do? A 3.5 might do it, I think. So we're going to go to a 3.5, and I'm going to be using an 8 ply yarn. Okay, let's switch that. Yep, maybe go to that so we can really see what's going on. So we're just going to start with a slip stitch and a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the second chain from the hook, I'm just going to do a single SC, single crochet, and then another 2 to the end of the row. Let me know if you're no, Mrs. C is actually not coming in today. She told me she wasn't coming on today, so if she does come on, someone please let me know. But the dates that I was given was no. I think she's just packing and getting completely ready, yeah, for her trip. Now, oh dear, what was I? I'm lost now. So yeah, so we're just going to do 3 single crochet. I wish I could get closer, but I really can't unless I bring the camera close, and then we just go out of focus. Yeah, let me know if you're hearing any feedback, because despite having the camera muted, it's still making a bit of noise. Okay, so that's our first row. A second row is a chain. We're not counting that chain as a stitch, and we're just going to turn our work, and into the first chain, or sorry, not first stitch, I'm going to work 2 single crochet. Into the next one, I'm going to work another single crochet. And in the last 2 single crochet. So we now have 5 stitches. And then we're doing a chain 1, and we're turning. Now we need to do this row 15 times to get the full length of the ear. So just work at your own pace. I'm going to do the full ear because I can't really do the second part until I've done this first part. So yeah, so we can go back to that if you like, so it's not so large. Anyway, so thank you, Suzanne. I have been practicing and working very hard to try and have 2 cameras, and trying to do this so that you can hopefully see what I'm doing. um it's been a bit sort of a learning curve. It's certainly better than my effort a few days ago when I actually was recording for about a full 10 minutes before I even um, went live, because I thought I'd pressed it, but I obviously hadn't. So yeah, so that was fun. But anyway, it happens. So yeah, 15 rows of this. Oh, this is so difficult. Well, not difficult, but it feels so funny working with this thinner yarn after working with the 10 ply or the 4 weight for so long. And like I say, that chain at the end, or that at the beginning, does not count as a stitch. So what are you up to, Suzanne? What are you making? Anything? Maybe you're making a Bilby. I was going to have some information about Bilbies, but I don't really have a lot to tell you, I'm afraid. Other than, as far as I know, they are marsupials. They are really very... I've got a picture of one, but I can't... Am I yarning over? I have no idea. I do it... Hang on, let me see. What am I doing? So was I going like that? Was I going like that, or was I going like that? Usually I think with amigurumi, the idea is to go like that. And because I do a lot at the moment of amigurumi, I am... I thought it was called yarning under. Oh, you did say yarning under. Sorry, I thought you said, am I yarning over? Yeah, I'm yarning under to hopefully, just make it a little bit tighter together. Hi, Froggy, Jennifer. Missed you earlier. I did come on, put you on to watch your live, but you didn't come. You have a package. What did you have? Oh, where'd you get the funky mystery yarn from? Inquiring minds want to know. Mohair with nubs. I've never seen mohair with nubs before. What colour is it? Where's your package from? But a headband is a headband. I mean, you know, I'm not very good with headbands. I tend to go oversize. Okay, I'm just going to count my stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, still got a ways to go. Oh, okay, cool. Can't wait to see. Well, I know it's not from me because I just sent the one. I hope it's a nice one. I actually managed to get some Aldi yarn the other day, which was really cool. Well, we will come to you for sure, Jen, to watch. I want to see what you've got. Fun, fun. Can't be from me. You've already opened my package. I didn't send another one. Now I'm confused. Did I send one in my sleep? No, I'm pretty sure I didn't send another one. Maybe it's from somebody else from Australia. You opened it the other day with Maureen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 more. You know what's going really, really weird, Jen? I think I'm losing my mind. Did I dream that? Nope, I've lost my mind. I really have. Oh, because today I went and went to 2 lives that were scheduled, which didn't happen, and I thought this is really weird. I mean, one to happen, not happen is fine, but yeah. And then I started thinking, am I losing it? You know, am I like what's that movie where the show is all about the person, Truman, the Truman Show or something like that? I thought, am I in the Truman Show? It's from Heidi. Oh, thank goodness. I was going to say, you got, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. We are all waiting to see that. And I bet you are too. 11, 12, 13, just 2 more rows. Now remember, we're going to make 2 of these, obviously, because our Bilby has 2 ears. This is the inner ear. And then we make the outer ear. And there's no stuffing needed in the ears. At least I didn't find the stuffing was necessary when I made the, hold on, when I made the bigger one. It's quite sort of stiff. So I didn't stuff it. I have been doing amigurumi madness just lately. Yeah, so let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so after row 15, we are just going to do 2 single crochet together, a single crochet, and 2 single crochet together. Chain 1, turn, and then we're just going to do 3 single crochet together. Chain 1, and where are my scissors? Brain fog is terrible. I've been having a lot of brain fog lately, and it's making me feel like I'm really am losing my mind. Okay, so that's the pink bit of our ear. We're going to make one now. This is a slightly darker brown. I couldn't find a lighter brown, but Bilby's are slightly darker, I think. I'm hoping it should still be visible though. So, yeah, I've spent the last few days doing amigurumi and also doing my hooker versus hooker, which isn't an amigurumi. Okay, with the outer ear, which is obviously just this piece here, we're going to start off the same but wider because we want it to curl around. So, what do I start off with? Chain 7. I'm hoping to get to the nose today if we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then all single crochets all the way across. I've been awake for almost 24 hours. Can you believe that? It's only because I couldn't sleep, but that's obvious, isn't it, saying that? Okay, so as we can see, it's just slightly wider, just by a few stitches. Okay. Okay, where's go to chain 1, and it's pretty much the same as we did for the first part, but just it's wider. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch. Then what have I got written here? 4 single crochet. So I'm going to end up with 2 bilbies at the end of this. Is it 4 or 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right. Yep. And then 2 single crochet in the last stitch. And then we should have 8. And once again, we are going to do, make sure I'm right. Yep, 15 rows. Hi, Izzy. How are you? I am making a Bilby. This is his face that I've made. Or maybe I should show it down here. This is his face I've made in a 10 weight, a 4 weight, which is a 10 ply. But I'm just showing how we're going to make ears. And hopefully if I can get the ears finished, I will start working on the face from the nose upwards. And you will notice this tapering. And that's just so that I can get the right shape, because I want the circle to come back down. So it's here, not here. Hopefully that'll be explain it as we go along. So yeah, so we're just doing 15 rows of 8 single crochet. Hi, Leanie. I'm here. Mrs. C's packing and busy. I did check with her that she was definitely not going live today. I'm assuming she is just flat out busy. And it's Regina Provenzano, one of Mrs. C's favourite names to say. Yeah, I'm just keeping Mrs. C's seat warm. Hello, Regina. How are you today? I love the name Regina. Queen is obviously what it means in Spanish and Regina in Latin, I think. been a long time since I've done any Latin. I did actually do Latin in high school for one term. The first year we did high school, when we were 11 or 12, the first year we got, they sort of gave us a tester. We had a year, each month, each term, we had 3 terms in our years, was a different language. So I did a bit of Italian, did a little bit of Latin, and then Indonesian. But and then I did German for 6 years. You wouldn't know it. I can't speak a word. Canadian Queen, yes. Okay, have I got 8? 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. Okay. And once again, I'll just say for those coming in, we are making a little bunny ear. Well, I say a bunny ear. I'm keeping up with the theme of Wacky Wednesdays by creating a wacky bunny rabbit, which is actually a Bilby, which is an Australian equivalent to bunny rabbits. We actually have chocolate Easter Bilbies at Easter. And they are so I don't know whether it was a baby. I saw this picture of one, and it actually fit in the hands. And it did look like a rat, I must admit, but it's a lot skinnier and scrawnier than a rat. So I don't know whether what I saw was a baby Bilby or a full-grown one, but I do know they are like rat-like and rat-sized. And they have a pouch, and they have big, big ears. So, and they have the really, can you see that? The slanty eyes. I got an eyeball which had I didn't put any colour behind it because I just wanted the eye slant, because that's what their eyes look like. They don't have sort of like a round eye visible, it's a slant of an eye. And, you can look at them and say, ugh, that's ugly. And I can understand some people looking at a Bilby and thinking that. But sometimes you can look at them and think, well, they're really quite cute. I guess it depends on, on the Bilby. Okay. I'm hoping everyone can see and hear okay. I'm assuming. Have you been making anything, Regina and Leanie? I think, and Izzy? No, hang on. No, Regina was, no, it was, oh, sorry, Amber, I did not see you. You're scrolled up too far. Hello, Amber, thank you for popping in and visiting. Who's made the headband? Suzanne had made the headband, yes. So what's everyone else been making? And here's Barbara. Hi, Barbara, how are you? Let me all know what you're working on or what you have been working on. Making lunch. I presume you're not crocheting that then, Amber. What's for lunch? I might come over. I've been very hungry. Some days you just get really hungry and you just can't stop nibbling. I'm having a nibbly hungry day. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Frogs and sourdough. Oh, you're making frogs and sourdough. For a minute, I thought that's what you were having for lunch. And then I realized, no, that's not Amber answering. That's Regina. You're making some frogs? Gorgeous. No, you don't want to eat your fibre. It just reduces your stash. And it really doesn't help. My cats try and, eat little bits of my fibre, just tiny little pieces, which is, good because if they get told of too longer pieces, you can end up with a twisted bowel, and that is not pleasant nor cheap to repair, and would really hurt. Still, pat now tilapia fish. Now I've heard of that, and you know where I've heard of that from? I'm an Animal Crossing gamer, and I've actually seen those fish in that game. Now, what does it look like? I'm trying to remember what it looks like. But you're heating it up with some rice. Well, that would be nice in the air fryer. Heating up. I have not got that because I don't cook, because I live all alone, except for the cats. So it's really pointless just cooking for one. Though I have heard that the air fryer is a really good option if you're trying to, cook or heat just for one. Oh, I've got to keep counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is what I hear, Amber, that air fryers are the bomb, that you can just literally do anything in them. They're the new, remember the hot pot? That was all the rage about a decade ago. Everybody used to use their hot pot, which could be um, I think it's like the air fryer, but it could be a pressure cooker and it could be a casserole or, a slow cooker and all the rest of it. But now it seems to be the air fryers, but they are equally expensive. Yeah. So this is what I hear from people, that they use it every day. And I think if you do use it every day, then why not? I'd be worried, well, I haven't got a lot of bench space anyway, but I'd be worried it was taking up a lot of bench space. But I guess you could put it away after every use. I think this is my last row. Then I will count. Well, you live and learn, Amber. You won't do it again. You won't not do it again, I should say. You could make it into, I would imagine it would make good fried rice, actually. Because it would dry it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, what's the next row? Okay, we are doing 2 single crochets together in the first 2 stitches. And then I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4 single crochet. And then 2 single crochet together again. Chain 1, turn. Then we do 2 single crochet together 3 times. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then the last row is 3 single crochet together. And will I start it? No, I don't want to start there. Okay, so I'm going to dear. Well, if there's enough leftovers, yeah, you can get away with just getting rid of the top. Okay, with any luck, these will be the similar length, which they are. And then what I'm going to do is slip stitch them together. Like I said, the reason why I'm slip stitching rather than just crocheting them together is so that I get this nice clean edge. And hopefully it will mean that you won't need to stuff them. But I've got a feeling this will be a little bit flimsier, but it should still stand when I'm finished. Okay. Oh, that's my cats in my blinds. What have they found? Oh dear. Better not be a big ugly spider like they found the other week. Great big massive thing it was. And they chased it all night. Okay. How do I mute? I can't remember how to mute. Hang on. Because I've got a cough, so I need to mute. Hang on. Okay, that's better. Hopefully that was muted. Otherwise, I apologise. Okay, so we can see that there's the end of the row and a little sort of bumpy bit, end of the row, bumpy bit. So I'm just going to go into each section with a slip stitch to join them. And hopefully there should be the same number on both. Oops. Now, I know you're looking at all these ends and panicking. Well, obviously you don't need to worry about the ends. Maybe I didn't go into these nubby bits. I can't remember if I did or not. See, yep, you can see what's going on. Actually, I might have just gone into the end bits. Do whichever's easier, because it doesn't really... Oh, now hang on. That's not working. Why is that not working? I think I did a single crochet instead. That's why it's not working. My apologies. Must have done a single crochet because there's no pink showing through. Yep, I think that's probably right. And so I did a single crochet in the flat bits and I left the bumpy bits. Very professional here, using all the professional terms, as you can tell. Bumpy bits and flat bits. But I think you know what I mean. Oh, well, I'm glad it's tasty and hasn't been ruined. Yeah, well, see, I worked with a woman, Regina, and she had this is going back like decades, before air fryers and before hot pots and all the rest of it. And she had her oven go kaput, but she had a microwave. So she learnt to cook in a microwave because she thought, well, I'm not going to get the oven repaired because it cost more than a new oven to get the oven repaired. And she thought she couldn't afford a new oven. So she became a microwave cooker and she cooked everything. She baked cakes and she made, dinner, roasts, you name it. She did it all in the microwave. And I guess, you could do the same sort of thing to force yourself to use your air fryer. If you were wanting to make sure you use it, you could just where's my cat doing? You could just pretend like it doesn't exist. Pretend your oven is broken, and that will force you to use the air fryer and to get the most out of it. Because what do they cost? I mean, I remember the hot pots, and this is going back 10, 12 years. They were in Australia, they were $700, $800, which would have been around about 450 US dollars, give or take. But I remember thinking, oh, no, I'm not getting a hot pot. They are just so expensive. But I've seen air fryers, and I'm sure that they're up around 1,000 Australian dollars. Yep, so all these ends are going to be tucked in, so we're not going to see them. And we don't have to sew them in, obviously, because, oh dear, having a bit of problems with it. It's so small, this yarn. When you've been working with thick yarn, it's really weird or hard to go back to really tiny or thin yarn. This feels like I'm crocheting with thread at the moment because I've been using really thick yarns for quite a few number of days working on my hooker versus hooker project. Worst part about it is the colours they chose. One of the colours they chose for hooker versus hooker was pink. And it has to be farm related. $60. Wow, that's fantastic. I didn't think they were that, reasonably priced. Yeah. Microwaves do tend to dry out food, I think, too often, and does tend to ruin it for that reason. I mean, microwaves were great for, if you've got a baby bottle you want heated. Oh, okay, it was a gift. Oh, that was a nice gift. I don't get these really nice gifts. My kids are horrible. I was lucky to get a Happy Mother's Day, but mind you, I do say to them that that's all I want. And the reason I say that is just purely because my mother was, has always been the type of person that's like, you've got to buy me something for Mother's Day. You've got to give me a card for Mother's Day, my birthday, Christmas, Easter, all the rest of it. And so and as a person or child, adult growing up, I found that a lot of pressure. 100, well, there you go. See, 100's still not too bad. Yeah, limited space. That's what I'm thinking. But it doesn't look sort of too big. It looks a little bit like the same size as my bread maker was. So to take the pressure off my kids, I sort of basically have always said to them, as long as you say happy birthday, as long as you say happy Mother's Day, that's all I want from you. Just an acknowledgement that I am your mother. And I mind you, sometimes I don't even get that. But my daughter will soon learn. It is 3 days now until my grandson is due. I don't know whether he'll go over or not. It'll be interesting. But it's 3 days. So I'm waiting for news. And videos, obviously. Okay, now we've gone into that last stitch. And as you can see, whoops, It's standing up by itself, and it doesn't need any padding. You could pad it if you wanted to, but I'm not. So that's my loop. I'm just going to tuck away my ends. Remember, you need 2 of these, obviously, because bilbies have 2 ears. Not 1, not 3, just 2. We're not that wacky in Australia. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is, you can see the end here. I basically folded it and then just sewed it over. And that's to be put aside for later. I'm going to see if I can actually crochet it in when I get to this stage. But we'll, that'll be a wait and see. Okay, so I'm going to put that part over first, that over second. I'm just going to start from the opposite end. Slip stitch. And turn it. Ugh, this is a bit tricky. It doesn't have to be perfect though. You just want it sort of folded. So however you can get it to fold, that's fine. Oh, you're still working on that gigabyte blanket, yeah, of my Michael's. That is a lovely one. I said to him after it was named, I said, you know what it looks like to me? I said, it looks like Space Invaders. You know that game, Space Invaders? We used to be all the craze when we were young. Well, when some of us were young. And that's what it reminded me of. The little things at the bottom that used to go, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, and I'm just going to... Oh, so you can get different sizes. I've never understood that, Amber, why, when they build houses where the kitchens are so small and they have the living areas so large. And I mean, I've always, I built, well, not myself physically, obviously, but I had built for me 5 houses. And each time I tended to sort of get a little bit more experience and a little bit better on actually building and knowing what to get and what not to get. And I always made sure I had a really big kitchen. And I think at the end of 5 builds, finally got a house that I absolutely loved, and then divorced my husband, so we had to... Okay, there is our bunny ear. As you can see, it's grossly smaller than the 10 weight, because this is just a 3 weight, but that's okay. If you want a really big one, you do it in the 10 weight. You want a small one, you do it in the 3 weight or the 8 ply. So you need to make 2 of these. I'll do that off screen. Next, I'm going to work at... Oh, wow. T-tubes. Are they like what we call in Australia grommets? Like a little hollow plastic tube that just goes into the eardrum to keep the eardrum open slightly? That's what it sounds like. My son actually had his adenoids removed when he was about 3. Yeah, I don't know why they, kitchens are like really the center of the home, aren't they? And I think all houses should be built with big kitchens with lots of seating and that sort of thing. Okay, what time is it? Oh, 15 minutes. But that's okay. I think we might be able to get the nose done. So I'm just gonna start on the nose and then, or should I leave it until next time and just chatter for the last 15 minutes? T-shaped. I wonder why that is. There must be a reason for it, obviously. T-shaped. Hmm. My son, when I'll do the rest um next time. I think I'll start on the nose next time, and then I'll have both ears, and hopefully we'll get to this stage where we can put the ears on. I doubt we'll get all this done. You never know. Um, they last longer. Ah, I remember my son's one did come out. We found one. The second one we never ever did find. But it did come out and the hole healed. But I'm assuming that the reason was it was just covered with wax because he had waxy ears like you would not believe. But they removed his adenoids because they said they were quite large for a 3-year-old. But when he went into hospital, you know how they put the little drip in the back of the kid's hand for you know, the drip for when they, the anesthesia and everything when they're having the operation. Well, first they put the cream on to numb it, and they put that on both sides. And so it would numb the back of his hands. So when they put the drip in, it doesn't hurt, or the cannula in, it doesn't hurt. Well, they put the cannula in, and it had like the little bump, and it had like the end that you stick the needle in and whatnot. And that was all taped down. And he would hold it like this. And he was holding it like this, and he thought he was Buzz Lightyear. He was going like this. Because he was only 3, I think, thereabouts. And he thought he was Buzz Lightyear. Pew, pew. He thought it was the most fabulous little thing, that having this thing on the back of his hand, this little cannula spot. Oh, yeah, that sounds horrible. Yeah, poor thing. Mine used to snore terribly. But, and like I say, then he didn't after the adenoids. But I remember, and this is going to be a bit TMI probably, but the gunk that would come out. You know, I would get tweezers because you could see it right at the top of the nose. So he couldn't blow it out because he wasn't allowed to blow his nose too hard. Because if he did, he could sort of cause bleeding. So I was saying, getting up there with a pair of tweezers, and I would be pulling out pieces of rubber. They were like rubber, this long, which the doctor informed me was, and his words were, snot. And I thought, oh, okay, could we have not have used a nicer word like, I don't know, mucus or something? But yeah, they pulled out these huge long threads, and I like 3 or 4. Yep, see you shortly. You go get ready. We'll be finished soon. Um, and I pulled out like 3 or 4 of these because he had all his sinuses were completely blocked and clunged up. Yeah, well, see, that's what they thought was happening with him. They thought that his hearing, although they did think for a while that his reason for not speaking was due to perhaps not hearing as well, but he was autistic as well. So he had the diagnosis of autism. So, yeah. And the hardest part with him was trying to, before the operation, was making sure he didn't eat anything, because this kid just never stopped eating. he would just never stop eating. We had to have empty packets in our cupboards. So you'd open up the cupboard and he'd say, and he'd want something, he'd point to it because he couldn't speak. And you'd try to get him to use his words, but he couldn't. And we taught him a few sort of hand signals like help and, please. That was thank you. Please. I can't remember now. Please. No, that was thank you. That was please. I can't remember now which ones are which. But and he would eat until the packet was empty. So I kept empty packets of everything. And then after he'd gone to bed, I would put a certain quantity of everything, like rice cakes and some biscuits and whatever, into the empty packets so that he would only eat until the packet was empty. Then I could show him the empty packet every day and then he would be fine. He would not want, he wouldn't ask for any more. Yeah, please. Well, we used Macaton. I'm not sure if you've heard Macaton in the US. It's a dumbed down version, really, of what we call Auslan, Australian Sign Language, Auslan. Um, so it's dumbed down, and the words are the symbols are a lot easier and they're used for children, very young children who aren't deaf but need some help with their language. Which and I had learnt that for my son because he was just, yeah. I can't say that his hearing necessarily improved afterwards. I don't know. Um, because he still ignored you or ignored me uh, all the time. So, but that was more of the autism, I think, than the actual um, not hearing. But I had hearing as well. They had to put grommets in my ears. They put in this one ear. My stapes, you got the three little bones. There's one that's shaped like a, a stirrup, a horse stirrup, and I think that one's called just stapes. And I've got what they call a fixed stapes. It doesn't move. It doesn't vibrate when sound comes in like it's supposed to. So I was partially deaf in that ear until they put the grommets in, and that helped because I was constantly getting ear infections. But because the stapes doesn't move, I do mishear certain sounds now, certain frequencies. Like if someone's saying, crochet across, I hear crochet across. So the final S becomes a T. And things like that, because the S and the T are the same frequency, but I think the T is a higher frequency, and so I mishear it as no, the S is a higher frequency. Sorry, so I miss some of it when it's at the end of a word as a T. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I forget all this stuff from speech pathology. I was actually a speech pathologist, and I studied it, and for 4 years, and when I finally got to doing clinicals and passed all that, and then went on to trying to do the job, I couldn't physically cope with it. So, but it was interesting to learn something, learning speech pathology because my son was autistic. I wanted to learn speech pathology to help him. That was my initial reason for wanting to learn it. But then, of course, it became a little bit different. Hang on, let me see if I can do that. I'm gonna do it like that. So yeah, it became my initial reason for wanting to be a speech pathologist was to help my son. But then it worked out that I was helping my nephew as well because he was born. They thought he actually might have been Down syndrome. Something I didn't know about Down syndrome children is they're born with just one crease across their palms, but he had one crease across one palm, but he had two across the other. And he had something called Noonan's syndrome, which has all the characteristics of autism plus some physical problems, such as short stature, short neck. They have a shorter neck, um, and heart problems. I think he's due actually for another new heart. So it's great that they've actually produced an artificial heart that will work as a actual heart replacement, because who knows, he may end up having to have that, because as he grows, his heart needs to grow, but it's not going to grow at the same rate that a normal heart would grow. So all very interesting. But anyway, I will say goodbye because I think yes, I have. Yay! I've got a cup of coffee in my flask. So I'm going to get my cup of coffee ready. I'm going to say thank you, everybody, for joining me. I will put down either in the posts tab or the Facebook page, or both probably, the instructions for the ears. And yeah, we can head over now to Froggy's and see her present from Heidi, which we all know. But I'm not going to say it just in case you don't know. I don't want to ruin the surprise for you. But we all know what she's getting from Heidi. I will. Thank you, Lenny, and thank you for coming, everybody. I hope you've, enjoyed it, and I hope you, yeah, don't run me over if you see me in the street. That's my only request. Don't knock me down. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to have to figure out how to end this. There's this button that says end stream, so I'm assuming I will use that. Bye bye, everybody. I will see you next time. See you in a couple of days' time on Friday at the same time, and we'll work on the nose of our Bilby. Okay.